It's been a little bit of time since the last video, and today the message that has continuously come up this week is about finding the edge. To find the edge is something along the lines of wherever the avoidance, wherever the hesitation, wherever the difficulty seems to lie, to explore that boundary, to find that edge. If something comes up and it just seems like the body is resistant or the body is avoidant, to allow ourselves to spend as much time on that threshold as possible. And soon you may find that it isn't difficult at all to spend time in what seems to be that threshold, to linger there at the edge, to just be completely still at what seems to be a boundary. We begin to lose our orientation and our relationship to that sense of difficulty, to that sense of avoidance, or maybe that sense of hesitation. This is kind of a really vivid way to describe stillness. This is all stillness. Sometimes that shows up as silence, other times that shows up as just some kind of effortless flow within the world, and even then, it can show up as just being completely silent and still in meditation, going deeply into that cave. Sometimes it's isolation. Other times it's complete engagement. Nonetheless, it's more about living completely with no exception at all. To find that edge is to see where the no comes up, where there's a sense of, I don't like that, or that's not for me, or I prefer something else. As soon as that arises, we are finding an edge. And as soon as that edge shows up, we allow ourselves to just remain there. It seems like the majority of the time, if I were to use a card, let's say I have this card, the way the identity tends to work is we're running along through our lives, boom, we hit a barrier and we just want to run the other direction. It seems pretty natural. Yet once we turn around and we start heading this way, the walls close in, and then when we turn around again, we're right against that wall. And the inverse is happening over here. As we turn around, that wall is closing in. Kind of a strange experience, the identity. It seems to be an infinitely contracted space. The more and more we move into resistance and avoidance, we find ourselves quite bottled up. It tells us that the edge, that boundary is scary, that it is dangerous. So it's really up to us to discover if that's true. This is a matter of turning over every stone, even if we've already turned over that stone before. To discover something in the state of curiosity, not necessarily to acquire knowledge and a sense of finality with the experience, yet to continue exploring in a effortless, creative way. So every time a difficulty arises, every time a sense of sadness, frustration, anxiety shows up, what's happening naturally is we are finding that edge. Something is being revealed to us. And if we listen to the cries of the identity, it usually means we're running the other direction, or fighting, or clawing and gnashing our teeth. And usually that means that we are heading another direction. We're in a place of seeking more comfort. Here's a little bit of a challenge. Start with these lower stakes circumstances to find that edge. And when you do find that edge, see if you can engage completely, immerse yourself in that experience, and watch thoughts like clouds drifting in the cosmic backdrop. The content of those thoughts are intended to keep you distracted, to pull you away from that edge, so that you turn around and go the other direction, and the contraction of the identity box gets tighter and tighter. Find that edge. Live in that space. You'll be able to prove something to yourself, that you are more capable than the identity and thoughts could possibly comprehend. you're more capable than they would have you believe. The nature of belief itself is really oriented around some severe limitations in experience itself. Every time a difficulty arises, every time something is uncomfortable, every time some kind of abstract emotional pain shows up, go there. Just stay in that space. Don't fight. Don't run the other direction. And just sit there for long enough that maybe you lose all sense of what it is. And that is where the relationship is created. I think you might find that it's not what you think it is. It's not what the beliefs would tell you it is. That maybe there's something brand new to discover right there at that edge. So come along on the adventure a little bit. Even if it's small edges at first, find those small edges and just remain there. Let every sense of difficulty be where the entire experience lies permanently in a state of stillness from this point forward, and see what shows up. And as always, please leave comments and questions in the comment section of the video, and I'm very glad to engage with you. Thanks.